Marshall is a syndicated radio talk show host, and Dee Dee Benke is a former campaign aide and White House aide to President George W. Bush and a Republican strategist. Ladies, welcome. Good to have you here today. This is a tough story. It's a sad story. And, you know, because the president did input himself into those other cases, Leslie, that's why this question is being raised.
And no doubt, but as the story you just reported, Martha, regarding a World War II veteran, I think that although it's disgusting anytime somebody loses their life, especially to a crime, whether it's the hands of a gun or not, which I think is definitely another issue. And as we've seen statistically, the violence, the crime in America is down except among our youth. Violent crime is up among our youth, and that's something that we have to address. When we lose somebody who's young, it's awful. The reason Australia has made a comment is this is their citizen. The reason the president should make a comment, people feel, because of Trayvon Martin, the race card, this is a young man. But I do think that it's naive and unrealistic to expect the president to comment every time there is a victim of a crime.
Of course it is.
This young man is a ball player. Would we care? Would we care if he hadn't been?
I understand that, but the problem is that he has put himself into the middle of these situations in recent days, and because he did that, it raises the question of why he would not, you know, comfort this family, why he would not reach out and make a comment. Dee Dee, what do you think?
I cannot believe it. I have to tell you, on the governor's part, as well as the president's part, it's a fail. I mean, this is Australia. This is a big ally of ours and friend, and they have lost one of their citizens at one of our universities, and for a terrible reason. I mean, this was like a thrill kill. This was sick. I mean, this is mental illness, and the president has not stepped up. I mean, what, because he doesn't look like his son? I mean, sorry, but it's not right. I mean, it does raise it to a different level when this young student is from Australia. So I think the governor and the president both need to step up, but I don't know why the governor isn't calling the president out. Saying it's a nice gesture is not enough. It's too weak. They owe Australia an apology, and a big one.
You know, it raises questions, Leslie, also about, you know, the issues of violence, gun violence, as you point out, violence in the streets, the rising threat from young teenagers. We look at these two awful, awful stories that just make me say, you know, well, what's going on, right? And I wonder, you know, should the president talk about that? Should the president come forward and talk about parenting? Should the president come forward and talk about responsibility and why these kids are, you know, just running wild in these cases and just so desensitized and detached from humanity?
Absolutely. If anything, just who the president is and the fact that he is biracial, African American, has come from this sector and segment. But before that, I do want to say one thing regarding the legal process in hindsight.
Okay.
Honestly, I think as president, looking back perhaps, and I can't speak for him, but if I were in his shoes, I might have rethought commenting on Trayvon Martin. We saw what happened. We saw what happened with Mr. Zimmerman. We saw what happened with the trial. And I think that perhaps they're reserving, the White House, not apologies to the families. That should be done, and that should be done privately, quite frankly. And as a parent, that's not going to bring me any comfort. That's certainly not going to bring my son back. What can we do as a nation to prevent this in the future, not just for visitors to this nation, but for our own citizens? And certainly the president has spoken out about guns. He's spoken out heavily since Newtown and other massacres in this country. I, as a Democrat, have strongly spoken out about this problem, but it's not just this problem. Fatherlessness is a problem where Bill O'Reilly and I agree. Guns are a problem.
Huge problem.
And this is an area where I think we need to put politics aside and look at what can we do to really focus on our children.
You touched on something very significant, and I think what we may be seeing here is a reflection on, you know, sort of speaking too soon in the Trayvon Martin case, and that is what has prompted the discussion that we're having here today. And we'll see. Thank you so much, Dee Dee, Leslie. Good to see you both.
Thank you.